All right.
Hi, everybody. Celia Waterhouse here. Thanks for joining us at OnPoint Mentors. Today, we have Collin Miles, a.k.a. the numbers guy. I love that. Collin just released a new course for everybody, and it's called Let the Numbers Decide. So I wanted Collin to come in and talk about his course because it's quite exciting. He's been working so diligently over the last several months on it, and it is tax season after all. So I don't know how you're juggling all of this, Collin. So welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'm juggling it by probably getting about 3 hours sleep at the moment, but other than that, it's all and the sun is shining. So hey, we can energize from that too. So no, but thank you for having me. Excited to be here again. It's always fun chatting with you, Celia.
It is always fun, and you're always so positive and upbeat about numbers. I mean.
Well, it's my life. It's my life, isn't it? So if it's not a tax number, it's a wealth number, it's a spreadsheet number. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their passion, and I've come to understand that numbers are my passion. But more, it's about getting to helping other people's numbers, because they're not my numbers. Obviously, I run my own business, so I do have my own numbers, and that's important as my personal development for my business. But I get my passion from the numbers, being the numbers guy, to the small entrepreneur, the independent business person who really hasn't got a clue what their numbers are because they're just focused on trying to live their life and grow their business. And to them, numbers are almost at the back of the phrase. But as I was listening to something from Faye, we want to try and make numbers the happy page. In my course, I do use at one of the points, I've got the thing from William Farrell, the "Let's be happy" as a fun video. So it's about trying to make numbers fun for everybody, not just for me.
So you made numbers happy in this course, but let's go backwards a little bit. What made you so inspired with numbers?
Well, numbers, as I say, I mean, if we go all the way back to how the numbers guy was created, he started being created at college, actually. I did do accounting and economics as my university degree, but numbers in the old-fashioned accounting and economics fashion is very, 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 very boring. All right, so 3 years of doing those numbers, almost your type situation. So I spun into management, business management, marketing, sales, retail, and moved away from being the pure numbers guy at that point. Went through my career, was quite successful, worked with Faye Chappell at Godiva. That's how I came into her world back in 1997, 98. So last century as such. Oh my gosh, that makes sense.
I know. I was thinking that the other day too. It's like, am I that old? I was key punching in the computers long time ago.
Indeed. And when you get clients come in who are born in the late 90s and early 2000s, and they were born then, and you're like, oh, that's making us feel old. But anyway, we digress. So went into retail management, senior management, corporate life, then left corporate life in 2003 and actually set up my own business. Became a scuba diving instructor, then went on to be a course trainer, and had lots of businesses that we were running through around the world. And as a result, the numbers then as a small entrepreneur became very important. And when we have satellite businesses making decisions and having an impact on whether they should take the boat out or not take the boat out because of the weather, the numbers really started to become important. And that's where the pillars of my business, or the pillars of the numbers guy, was starting to grow. Sold that business in 2012, went back into corporate world for a couple of years, but realized then that actually my passion was, by that point, paying it forward really, and working with small entrepreneurs. And the actual concept of Miles Better and the numbers guy was born on a dive boat in the Red Sea, when a couple of the guys on the boat said, "You should be my accountant because you bring so much fun and passion to it, and you explain things in a way that I can come off a call with my old accountant for like an hour, and I haven't got a clue what he said. In 5 minutes, you've explained to me what we need to do and why we need to do it, because you apply what you did when you ran your own business." And I'm like, oh, I think there's a business concept here. There's an idea. And the seed was sowed, and over the last 5 to 6 years, it's grown into what it is now, where we are more about business mentoring. And in fact, through coming into the world of OnPoint with yourself and Faye Chappell and the others in the community, I realized that actually what I was doing, I was teaching. I was teaching people about their numbers. Comes back to when I was a teacher of scuba diving, become an instructor trainer. I've been a retail coach. And actually, that's really what I've been doing with the numbers. So the numbers guy is more about, obviously, we do a lot of done for you services, but also what we want you to do is to understand your own numbers and train you in your own world so that you can interpret and make powerful decisions. And that's where the numbers guy in its journey to.
That's just fabulous, because people do, especially now during COVID, everyone's kind of, starting their own little businesses and things like that, trying to, have a side gig and this and that. So you said it's only for small entrepreneurs, or like, what is there a certain size?
Well, the course is aimed really at somebody who literally is going, I haven't got I've got that imposter syndrome or the fear of failure, and I really don't know where to start. So it is aimed at small entrepreneurs who literally would like a roadmap to go from, okay, what do I need to do? I've got this sort of idea, and how am I going to turn that idea into a business concept? Or I'm just launching my business and I really am not sure what's to do. So the course was going to be very, very number driven, but I've discovered that when I started to try and build that you need me, right. you need the numbers guy in your corner. So when we actually get to the all powerful decision machine, which is the numbers, my course spins into more of me working with you. So we're building the pillars, we get to the numbers pillar, and then we've taken everything that you've done in pillar 1 and 2, which is the drafting the blueprint, and then sweating the assets type situation. They've all got some fun titles. I'll guide you to where you go to find your client, to find your niche, to think about some marketing, to start thinking about this. And of course, at that same time, we're starting to keep bringing it back to the numbers. Okay, right. What is that going to cost you? So almost in a way, I get you to think about the costs first. Okay, I want to have an all singing, all dancing website. Okay, well, that's got a cost. Let's start to capture that. How much you're going to sell? Well, I don't know how much I'm going to sell. Well, okay, well, let's just record that as to, I have no idea at the moment, but what do you want to sell? And then when we start collating all of this information, that's when then the numbers start to come to. Hence, let the numbers decide. Because if you've done all your blue skying, and I'm there helping you along the way with obviously Facebook group interaction and tutorials and training and all this, I've tried to make lots of different approaches within the course to keep it interesting and keep it fun. Once you've started to, we can then start to funnel that. And then when I introduce you, and I've discovered that from my own client base, that when I used to try and show them how to do the numbers with fictitious numbers, they didn't mean, they were like, I don't understand where that number's come from. Right. No, it was a fictitious number. So now we train them with, go get your data, get your bank statements, get all the mess that you've got. And then when we sanitize it and bring it together, then they, I know it, because they're not questioning, where did that telephone bill come from? Well, it was your telephone bill, so you recognize it. Right. So that's how I've built the course, in the fact that we'll start collecting stuff and go, okay, have you thought, and then you get some exercise, for example, when you think about, okay, well, do I want an office? Well, okay, go have a think. If you want to have an office, because that's going to fit your plan, well, we better have some costs. We better have some things. And then eventually you get to, in module 3, when we sanitize it together, okay, all of your costs mean you need to turn £1 million, $1 million. Is that realistic? And we'll have a little chart, a little program that we work you through that says, oh, I'm selling something for $99. I've got an awful lot of courses to do to make all my costs. And then we can reverse engineer and then go backwards and say, okay, would you really want that? And people love to have swanky cards to start with. And like, okay, could you make a card on a bit, could we cut the costs? Could we re-sanitize? And that's the thing. So it's aimed at somebody who is either about to launch, wants to launch, but needs somebody in their corner to sort of say, can you work with me on a step-by-step to get to the point that, yes, this is going to work? Or if you have just launched, let's go back and say, okay, I've got my first bill and I've got no idea what to do with it. Yeah. That type of thing.
So you can pretty much work with anybody. I was watching this television program last night, and you're going to laugh. What was it called? Dream Farms or something. I love farms. I love animals. Obviously, I'm a veterinarian, right?
I hope you like animals.
But this particular show there was a consultant who he was helping these couples who wanted to live the dream life of having a farm. urban people, engineers, and retired from the urban world to go buy and it was in England actually. This one was in Devon, I think.
Right,
And so they just had this romantic idea that we're going to go buy a farm and we're going to have a few animals on it and we're going to sell honey and we're going to sell pork and we're going to sell some wool and stuff like that. And he's like, he was their numbers guy, the farm expert that said, well, how many pigs do you have? Or what are you going to do with the wool? And, how much does it cost to produce this? And they're like, I don't know, but I've got a great logo. Check out my logo, right?
Exactly. And so, yes, you're right. I mean, I've tried to aim it at basically anybody who's thinking about taking the plunge, right, or has just taken the plunge and is maybe even 6 months in and gone, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I'm really, and again, it's based around what client base I tend to attract, is that we get people after 6 months or even 18 months when they're like, I'm in a complete mess and I need your help. And why didn't I know you 18 months ago and things like that? So, we, in our own client base, we come at it from often unpicking and sorting things out. So I've tried to set the course up that it's that same sort of step-by-step process that you can go through to really have somebody, to have that consultant. So that's a great example. And as a child, actually, my parents, it's a very side story. We did that. My mum and father quit their jobs, and we went and bought a farm in Wales, and we had that same thing. We bought it before we'd even got there. As we went down on the train, all these fun things, and it is never, the old. You can think they're running around with they're chasing the chicken. We've chased the chickens because they've got out because, and then they get squashed by something and then you can't sell them. As a child, I've got hardened very quickly that, mum would say, oh, we've got chicken tonight. And I'd say, oh, did the milk van run over the chicken? Yeah, not quite that, but you get the feel. So you're right. It's that often that the excitement and the shiny toy of having new computers and having logos, and they sign up for marketing and they sign up for this. Now, obviously, we hope they would like to sign up to something for a course and some education. But you're right. It's about holding them back and going, okay, why did you go buy a £2,000 computer when you've sold nothing? Have you got the computer? Oh, yes, I've got an old laptop. It's a bit slow. Well, that would have done because it's free. And those type of things, and then okay, so that's fine, £2,000 computer, but now we need to sell £4,000 worth of course just to pay for the computer. Right. Well, why? Well, because you won't make £4,000 profit on whatever you've sold, and so it's
So you could really save people a lot of money, and they should see you before they even start, because that would be cheaper than 6 months, 8 months, 16 months down the road when they've spent tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars doing what you're doing.
Of course, as with everything, an entrepreneur thinks, and we all do it, that we know best and that we can do this. And I've come from corporate land. I used to do it there. I should be able to do it. Well, it's very different. It's that mindset. So the challenge would be, in an ideal world, yes, that they would come to me first. But of course, that's money out the door before they've sold anything. So it is that hard thing. And I think that's the same with any course that has numbers to do with it. It's almost you need to have slightly failed before you could see that actually that was of value and stuff like that. So we'll see. I mean, we may have to, that's how it's been built. That was the inspiration. I may have to tweak it a little bit as we go along. And I think when we spoke before, the next thing is to try and see if it was built to be sort of standalones. It's whether I can perhaps take elements out and make them, because it's got quite big, and it's obviously there's a lot of involvement. It's a 5-pillar program, runs over, probably take you 6 or 7 weeks to complete it. So the price point is, it's there to give you the whole picture. I've rounded it out by adding modules at the end that take you past just the launch phase, so that it could be into the fact that you are thinking about taking on staff, what would be next. So because like everything, you need as Faye and Stacey and the other business mentors will agree, you need to have a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan, even if it's tweakable and it moves. So I've included some bits at the end that maybe we don't need, but lots of fun. It was an exciting wanted to get a complete project.
It sounds like we need everything, so don't take anything out just yet. Okay, so can you go over, you said it's 5 pillars and it takes about 6 weeks-ish to complete. Can you go over the 5 pillars?
Yes.
What are they called? And
yeah, of course. So we've got things like, it starts up with, I've got to say, main thing, drafting the blueprint of success. Here we'll look to explore processes that we need to understand the foundations. I refer a lot to, during the program, it's a bit like a house. If you set great foundations, you have a strong possibility that when whatever you build on the top will succeed. You know, the old little thing, if you build on sand, the likelihood it's going to fall away, but if you build on rock, you stand a chance. But it's about making sure that you're ensuring success from the start. So, and again, within that, we'll explore the different elements of maybe a little touch on some marketing, touch on a variety of things within drafting the blueprint. And that's where it sort of comes across. Then we move on to what I've called cutting the ribbon, which is once we have a roadmap, then we obviously need to start down it. And once we move down that, then we can start to understand the signposts and as we move forward. So again, we'll start looking a little bit more in detail at some of the elements that we've identified in the blueprint, so that we're starting to put them into action. And so very much I wanted to guide the student or the people through the program so that we start them, again, like a foundation. We've now laid the foundations, we're building the walls. And as I mentioned earlier, about starting to drill into where some of your costs are going to come from, where some of your sales are going to come from, so that we're starting to get real numbers, so that when we move into the third module, which I call the powerful decision machine, we'll start looking at the 3 secret documents of success, which is your profit and loss, your balance sheet, your cash flow. And it helps move from what I consider the heart to the head. Because the first bit's all very nice. As we talked about, love having the latest computer and the latest logo, etc. And that's where the third module comes in. So I hope that sort of gives a little bit of an overview of the first couple of modules, of how that sort of comes together.
And do you give mastermind, like weekly mastermind live sessions, or how does that work?
Well, I've created a dedicated private Facebook group, and obviously a lot of it is about trying to share the learns and the wins within the group, so that people who've either gone through the course can come back in and support with some rah-rahing. You're doing really well. I often like that myself, where if I'm further ahead in a program and other people are struggling, there's that. As part of it, there will be live sort of coaching sessions where we encourage you to bring to the session what you've been doing, and then we can critique it and review it. So yeah, lots of live interaction as well. And some of the other fun things that I've popped into the course is we've created a coinage, a currency within the program, and it's called a Miles Better Coins, as you would expect, the money. So because gamification is key nowadays within courses to keep it going. So some of the early things you can earn coins for is by simply joining the Facebook group and posting things here and going out and about and shouting and helping. And you can collect those coins and then basically you can then trade them in for extra time over and above the bonuses that you get from the course that you get by signing up. There are some one-to-ones within the program as bonuses within the course, but then you can sign up for additional bonuses of basically booking an hour's time or a half an hour time, depending on how much you want to spend. If you've hit a roadblock and you need to get at me to say, okay, what is it I need to do now? Well, spend some of your coins that you've been collecting and get a half-hour live one-on-one with me like this, or save them up and do a complete done for you section. And there's a whole emporium which you can visit to shop in and stuff like that. So try to make it a bit of fun as well. So as well as bonuses for signing up, there are bonuses within the bonuses.
Wow, that's sophisticated. But what's in your shop? Do you have books? And what are you selling? Well, basically you're selling, as I say, what you want to, how much time do you want to buy from me? So for example, it might be, so you might get a 30-minute call with me to Blue Sky in module 1. And that will cost you, say, 100, I can't remember specifically without sidetracking, but that might cost you 100 coins, of which you have collected perhaps
10 coins by just simply joining the Facebook group and tagging me. There might be, if you're a bit more excitable like me, because I love collecting these things, I'll give you 100 bonus coins for recording a little video of the first downloaded book out and about, and you post it and tag, I'm joining the course, because that's about taking action, isn't it? There are some of the harder projects, for example, where you can earn a lot of coins by physically completing a mind map, presenting it in the group, and some people will pick those up and run with those to earn the extra bonuses, and other people won't. So, etc. So you might store them all the way up and go, I'm not going to spend any of them until later on, when actually, I think one of them is you can actually have me build your numbers plan, because obviously in the course, I'm going to get you to do your own. But, some people are like, no, I want a done for you service. So, okay, collect the coins, work hard in the course, and I'll help commit, because that's, you don't get an opportunity until a bit later on in the program. So you've got to have gone quite a long way through the program to have collected those points. So I'm going to thank you for committing and going through the program by giving more of my time as well. So, we'll see ultimately, if that gets too successful, well, hey, that's a first world problem. Nice to have if the course is overloaded and I'm like, well, we just, I'll take that. I'll work extra hours. If people are putting the time in, I always believe, I'm a believer with my own clients as currently, if you put the time in, I'm going to give it back, because you've committed to the program. So,
that would be a wonderful problem to have if you had too many people wanting to hire you, because that's when you start the training program for the trainers, right?
Exactly. You start taking on new people, you have affiliates. Exactly. So yes, very happy to have that problem if it lands on my desk. So.
Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm sure everybody wants to know, what is the cost?
Okay, right. Well, again, to try and help people out, what we've done is that there's a one-off cost. You can pay for it in full, and I've priced it in both UK pounds and in US dollars, because obviously I'm appealing to both North America and the UK. But in the US, the price is, let me just drum roll. It's $14.97 if you $14.97 if you pay up front. But I also have offered some payment options where you can pay over 3 months.
Oh, good.
And the 3 months goes up a little bit to $550 for a 3-month payment. And if you pay up in full, obviously I'll open up the whole course to you in one hit. You can go through as fast as you like. If you're paying over 3 months, then basically your course, I'll split the course into thirds, so you can't get at the second and third part until you've paid. Obviously to incentivize you to keep going. And if you obviously, as we know, there's always attrition and drop off rates, right. Then, you've only paid for what I've released and things like that.
Right.
So that's the base course, $14.97. There are some up options, as you would expect, as well as bonuses that everybody gets. There are some options as you go through the checkout process to take some upselling, basically. You can take the course up to $2,997, where you get apps. So it's double the price, but you get 6 one-on-one sessions with me during the program that you don't have to use your coins for. You can collect those. There'll be extra done for you services where I will, physically walk alongside you to do your program. So that almost for that, the course is more like a mastermind than we're taking it up where it's almost, okay, once a week, we'll book it out. We'll have the session very much on like this and using the OnPoint platform, and work through it to see, okay, how are you doing? What's going on? What's missing? Where are you struggling? And so that really can make sure that by the end, they're not, it's not they've just fallen away. They've actually got that. And then there's a mid-level where perhaps if you don't want everything, but you want some things, but you don't have to. You can choose not to take any of those, and then add them on later. Because I don't mind when you choose to add them on. You can add them on whenever you like. I will happily enjoy taking you through the program.
Can you give us some examples of how this program has helped some of your clients?
I've had one client go all the way through, and she launched her business late last year. She was involved with helping me tweak some of the program as we got close to it, which is great. And she launched, and she had a very successful first Christmas season. Unfortunately, she COVID obviously hit as well, and to launch a business in COVID, I thought was very brave. And so we were in beta with her, and she helped and stuff. So yeah, so I've got some real testimonial feedback on the program, which is great. And it's all about, evolving the program. It's my first course. So, I would also be asking anybody who does sign up for feedback and encouragement and tweaks, and like everything, testimonials end up getting bonuses, from that perspective. So.
But Collin, you say this is your first course, but it's not your first rodeo, because you have tons of happy clients. I know that.
Exactly. Not my first, but it's the first. It was interesting, as I say, the process of taking what's in here and what I'm very good at this, and putting it into a format where it can come across as equally as enthusiastic. Because the moment I start saying numbers, start going. Exactly. So I think in some of the early videos, 1 minute I'm in the office, then I'm upstairs outside, then I'm sitting at my table, then I'm standing up doing a tutorial. I've tried to make it. Then sometimes I'm behind slides. So again, sometimes a little talking head. I've tried to use all of the concepts to basically keep it informative and interactive and stuff. And then obviously, as the course goes on, you don't need to see me quite as crazy. You've got the feel of what the support I can give you. And then it morphs into the more traditional slide presentations, workshops, etc. But yeah, in the beginning, there's lots of welcome videos. We have a graduation from every module with a little party. We have a big graduation party. I'm all about having fun and stuff. So you go like, oh, the guy's crazy. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not the normal numbers guy.
But I have to ask, do you do one of the modules underwater with a whiteboard?
If perhaps we hadn't been quite in lockdown quite so much, maybe I might have been able to do that, but not yet. But that's a good point. We could do a review session, couldn't we? And stuff. So,
well, you could do a deep dive into the numbers.
I like it. I'll have to sign you up as my marketeur.
Oh my God. I mean, it really sounds fabulous, because I know how fun you are just to hang out and chat with, but I know how smart you are too.
Thank you.
And I was reading, what's his last name? Robert Hertz, one of the sharks on Shark Tank.
Okay, yeah.
He says, people with messy desks are usually entrepreneurs that are scattered with too many projects, which is a good thing. But you never want your accountant to have a messy desk. And thank God, I'm looking behind you and I'm like, look how spotless. But I do know you do have the brain of an entrepreneur. So, you've got both.
Yes, and I think that. Thank you for that. So, and I didn't tidy up because I'm always on screen. So this is the norm, and we try and keep it organized. And what you can't see in front of my desk is maybe a little bit. But I have this as what I call my symbol of success. You may be able to see it.
Caution, genius at work.
And that reminds me every day of what I need to be doing and stuff. So we have some fun with that. But yeah, so it's about keeping tidy, and I think what I came to discover was that I could bring my entrepreneur I'm not the accountant that just sat there and done the numbers, and you're like, well, I have no real world. And often a client will say to me, well, you keep calling it we should do this, or why don't we do that? And I'm like, well, yes, because I'm running it as if it was my own entrepreneurial business, and I would make this decision.
Right.
And I wouldn't make that decision. Now, you don't have to take my suggestions. Often I'll caveat it with, I'm having a cup of coffee and this is what I would do. And they don't always listen, but that doesn't always mean it's wrong or right, because they know in their own mind where they want to go. We hope we're here, as I say, to support, not to take over in any shape or form. So, yeah.
Well, Collin, anything else you want to add about this wonderful course?
Well, obviously, love them to go and check it on out. I have included a free download ebook on the page when you go and sign up, and it's the page. Obviously, go check out my OnPoint profile, and there will be a link on that page directly to that. And this is a free download. All we ask is to pop your email in so I know that you've downloaded it. And it's called the Accounting Translator. Accounting is the language of business, and it ties into the course with the introduction in plain speak to some of the phrases and words that you, as an accountant and as a business entrepreneur, you need to become fluent in.
I love that title. And so it's an ebook. Are you going to make it into a physical book?
I haven't thought about it yet.
Yes is the answer. I'm going to tell you, do it.
There you go then. So yes, of course, Miss Waterhouse. Of course.
Okay, so people can go to www.onpointmentors.com and look up Collin Miles. It's double L, Collin, Collin Miles, and you can find all of his podcasts and blogs, and download your ebook, and then of course they can access through there as well.
Exactly.
Wow, Collin, I am so excited because the last time we talked, it was in the works.
It was indeed. It was indeed. And thanks for your inspiration of getting on and do it, Collin. And I'm like, I did it. So I'm very excited. So.
Well, I'm so thrilled. I mean, you really have worked very hard, and we've watched you do it. So I hope this is going to be very successful for you. And I already am sure that it will be, because there are so many people out there that need the services. Mm-hmm. And they don't necessarily need to go to someone right away, but they need the education, and mm-hmm. then they can contact you if they need additional help.
And obviously through OnPoint, I do sort of hourly sessions, so you don't have to sign up for the course. Just come reach out to me through my profile page, and we can start a conversation through there as well. So.
We'll have to start designing your little coin.
Yes,
like
indeed.
A physical coin, right?
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm hoping it might be the latest cryptocurrency.
There you go. You never know. What was the coin called again?
It's a miles better coin at the moment. So.
All right, Collin. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Okay.